Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny died on February 16 in custody in the Siberian prison camp Polar Wolf. According to official authorities, he collapsed during a walk, and resuscitation was unsuccessful. However, there are justified doubts about this account, also due to the fact that the cameras in the prison camp were accidentally switched off at that time, or that the body should be retained for further examination. It was not until February 24 that Navalny's mother received her son's remains. After his poisoning in 2021, Navalny had returned to Russia and was arrested. He was repeatedly sent through various penal camps and sometimes inhumane prison conditions in an attempt to break him. Internationally, many states are calling for a complete investigation, too, but this will probably remain a dream. Navalny's funeral is scheduled for March 1. Despite the restrictions in Russia, many visitors are expected. As if almost in mockery of the Japanese landing mentioned last month, the US has succeeded in landing on the moon commercially. The United States has returned to the moon after half a century, said NASA chief Bill Nelson. In fact, the lunar rover Odysseus successfully landed on February 23 after initial difficulties. However, as it turned out later, Odysseus fell over. The rover continued to send signals, but a successful mission looks different, and rumor has it that a follow-up mission is already being launched. Moon landings have always been considered challenging and difficult to implement. Thus, the attempt to rekindle interest in space and space missions with this mission can be considered a failure. This is of course particularly bitter due to the upcoming Europa mission in 2 months. Even though nothing can probably prevent the launch of the Shango, it was undoubtedly hoped for a little more positive publicity. In the United States, the election campaign is underway. The first primaries have been completed, and although it is still a while until the election date in November, everything is in full motion. Speeches are held, visits are made. So it is almost regrettable that there is no more room for the sanctuary districts. As a reminder, the sanctuary districts were part of Donald Trump's MAGA program, only in a slight variation, called MACA, short for Make America's Streets Clean Again. The program was introduced in 2019 to 2020, and shortly before the end of Donald Trump's first term, every major city in the U.S. had such a sanctuary district. The plan was to accommodate the many homeless and destitute people, who have become a problem in recent years, and to guarantee them basic care. But the promise to help with job placement was also one of the core points of the sanctuary districts, so a voluntary influx was observed, especially at the beginning. And indeed, the plan seems to be working, because America's roads have never been cleaner. According to statistics, even crime rates have decreased. Nevertheless, there had been criticism, especially in the early days. President Joe Biden actually wanted to devote himself to the sanctuary district again and subject them to a closer examination. However, this has not happened to this day, and probably won't anymore, because there is no time left for something like this during the election campaign. Images from the sanctuary districts are few, and it can be assumed that Biden may not want to admit that his predecessor could have created something that works and moves America forward. This is probably another reason why the topic is swept under the carpet. At least in this case, Biden does not seem to be entirely wrong, because most Americans are satisfied with the newfound cleanliness in their cities.